The backdrop for budget negotiations at the Capitol is a projected deficit of $1.7 billion this year and next. Democratic Governor Katie Hobbs has told us what she wants in the budget and what she wants to cut out of it. But what do Republicans want in the budget or out of it? Joining us, Republican State Senator John Kavanagh of Fountain Hills, a veteran budgeteer and chairman of the Senate Appropriations Committee, which decides how your tax dollars are spent. Welcome back to Square Off.
Good to be here.
I think you told me this is your 18th budget?
Yep.
Is that possible?
Yeah. Just
Time flies.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It does, doesn't it? You told me after the governor released her budget that the actual deficit would be north of $2 billion. Why do you believe that?
That is correct. The nonpartisan JLBC pegs it at $1.7 billion. However, we did a number of appropriations last year as one time for programs that are really ongoing. And these are in K-12, which I don't think anybody wants to cut. So we probably have another $400 million of prior one time that we're going to be committed to continuing. So it's now north of $2 billion, which shows the urgency of the situation.
Does that leave any room for the new spending that Governor Hobbs wants?
No, there will be very little new spending. We will do the continuing baseline, which we increase for inflation, more prisoners, more students, or what have you. That goes forward automatically. But in terms of new spending, very little. In fact, what we really need to do is find $2 billion to fill the hole. A lot of that will be cuts. A lot of that will be fund sweeps. A lot of agencies have collected money in their funds that we can take. And we also have a lot of capital projects, mostly roads, that frankly we can push out a year or two. Some of them aren't even ready to go because there aren't enough contractors to build these roads.
You had $2 billion last year that was spent on all these projects.
Yes.
Would that have been better used or saved for this year?
It would have, and in fact, the Republican budget that we put out in February would have done just that, but the governor vetoed it.
But it was Republicans who wanted that money spread around to all the members.
Well, what happened was after the skinny budget.
At least that's what the governor says.
No, yeah, and after the skinny budget that we put together that would have us pretty much even now was vetoed by the governor, we had to go back and cobble an agreement between all the parties, and that required giving members certain asks. That's the nature of the beast.
The red line for Republicans and Governor Hobbs' budget proposals are planned to gut empowerment scholarship accounts and eliminate the school tuition tax credit, which helps students pay for private school tuition. Here's what your House colleague, Representative David Livingston, told KJZZ, quote, Republicans would literally, instead of ESA cuts, we'd shut the government down. If Governor Hobbs sticks to her demands for some ESA reforms, would you shut the government down?
Well, governments don't shut down.
Well, let's say not pass a budget by July 1st?
Oh, I can't guarantee a budget by July 1st, but the government continues. What happens is some non-essential employees, wind up not coming in, and then when it's all settled, they get paid anyway. So that's kind of a joke. That's what happens at all levels of government. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think we can arrive at a settlement long before then.
Is there any kind of ESA reform that you would support?
Yeah, I think the idea of having the criminal background checks, but I'm told they already do that for insurance requirements. But
it's not in state law.
No, and again, I don't have a real problem putting it there, as they're doing it already. But we're not going to do what the governor wants, which is to literally take about half the students off of it and also get rid of the school tuition organization payments. I mean, look, Democrats don't like school choice. They want everybody in a district school. They fought us tooth and nail on charter schools. Now we know they're great charter schools. And they fought us on the ESAs. But, the odds are greater that Governor Hobbs will lead a march down Central Avenue in a pro-life rally than we're going to get rid of those ESAs and those STOs.
Okay. Does the money, let me ask a different kind of question, does the money allocated for ESAs need to increase, given that we keep hearing parents saying private schools are raising tuition now that the state is paying for, is providing ESAs to any student?
With this current budget crisis, we're not increasing anything that we don't have to increase. And we're going to be cutting, but not ESAs.
Another source of friction between the governor and Republicans is her, basically her sweep of the money that was allocated to every member last year, spent on largely on roads, but also on pet projects. You have some money at risk there too, or at stake. It's for the Dark Sky Discovery Center in Fountain Hills.
Absolutely.
You okay with losing that?
No. I'm going to tell you, I've been here 18 years. I can't think of any time that I've actually looked at a particular project and funded it. This one was amazing. It is going to be a planetarium and telescope and activity area for kids and adults. I mean, when I was a kid in New York, we got on a school bus, went to the Hayden Planetarium, we sat in those big chairs, looked at the stars, tried to figure out how the bear looks like a bear when they don't. It's a great educational thing, and ASU was talking about partnering. They're so excited. It's a great education project.
So here's what I see. I believe you've earmarked $15 million over the last 3 years for the Discovery Center. They've raised, that's of their total so far, 18 million that they have. So
yeah, the total is going to be 28 million in the end.
Okay, but right now it's the state taxpayers who are getting this off the ground.
Yes.
Kimberly Yee wants to know, the state treasurer wants to know if this violates the state gift clause.
No, she didn't. She dispensed the money.
She dispensed the money, then she came back late last year.
Yes. No, what she did was she was concerned about the procedure. She said, you just can't give the money to this group. You have to put it out. You have to put out a request for proposals and let everybody compete and submit their plans, and the best person gets it. And that's what she did. And the group in Fountain Hills won.
But does this violate the gift clause in that, and we just have an example of that with the Arizona Commerce Authority, which we'll be talking about in our next segment, where they spend money, but there is no committed return on that money to taxpayers.
Well, if this violates the gift clause, the budget crisis is solved, because we're going to be going to all the arts groups and taking back the billions of dollars that we gave over the years, often over the objections of Republicans, to all types of groups. And this is not like the Commerce Authority. The children who are going to be going to this will not be given drinks. We're not going to wine and dine those kids. They're going to get a good education.
But there are no signed agreements to return something, provide something to the taxpayers, are there?
There are no signed agreements when we give money to schools to return money. It's education. It's tourism promotion. I mean, there are a lot of benefits to this program. It's probably this has more bang for the buck educationally than any program I've ever supported.
All right. Well,
one other thing, and this is going to be run by volunteers. This is a nonprofit that has volunteer labor, so there's even more bang for the buck.
All right. I want to get to a couple of your bills.
Sure.
You want to, for folks who protest and block streets, you want them to face jail time.
Prison time.
Prison time for blocking a highway.
I don't want to change the current law, which is a low-grade misdemeanor if on New Year's you get drunk and you block traffic, right? No problem with that. I have a problem with that, but it's low. It's a low, not if I'm a person in the street, but I'm talking about people who block highways, bridges, tunnels, and airports and block large numbers of people. I specifically state you have to stay there, you have to block a large number of cars, and after being told you must leave, you stay. Then it becomes a felony, because what happened in San Francisco on that bridge, where for 4 hours thousands of people were trapped in their cars, no restrooms, 2 vehicles were trying to deliver organs for transplant. Nobody has a right to steal that much time and endanger people. It should be a felony, and let them pay the price if they want to try to make their point by stepping on everybody else's rights.
Okay. You also want to require HOAs and condo associations to let residents fly what's known as the Appeal to Heaven flag. That's a flag that dates to the Revolutionary War 250 years ago. Are you aware that flag is now being used by Christian nationalists as well as appropriated by Proud Boys?
Yeah, I've been told that.
And others?
Yeah, I do. And you know, the American flag has been appropriated by Proud Boys and Christian nationalist groups. But we don't let a small minority of extremists take flags that have historical, positive auras about them, and an extremist group marches with them, and we ban them? I mean, it's ridiculous.
But in its current meaning, it might intimidate some residents.
In its current meaning, to a small number of extremists who march around, right? Not to the rest of the world.
All right, got to end it there. Senator John Kavanagh, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.